Hi, Derek. I couldn't resist when I saw your video talking about Kitaro and Lady Gaga. I just couldn't resist in putting up a response to it. First of all, like you always say, you are welcome to your opinion, and I'm certainly not here to take away your opinion or say it's wrong or whatever. I'm just going to express my opinion. So, yeah, I see what you're saying about Kitaro. I see what you're saying. For me personally, I think a better example of perhaps what you're trying to say is Yanni. I think he's more synonymous with New Age than Kitaro is, actually. And I think when a lot of people hear the name Yanni, their initial reaction is a negative one, because he's not quite the Kenny G of New Age, but he's approaching it. Where, Kenny G is, often the brunt of jokes and whatnot. But, alright, that said, I first heard Kitaro. VH1 had a show called New Visions, which for me, that was critical in my musical exploration and independence as a youth, basically. So they had a music video on there. Frequently, I don't know if you ever saw it, Derek, but frequently they would have New Age, smooth jazz, and some regular jazz too, and some kind of far out jazz, and but they had a lot of good music on there. I discovered probably half of my top 10 artists I discovered on that show. But anyway, yeah, so I saw a music video for Kitaro. I was like, wow, this guy's unique. He has a very interesting sound, and there's just that distinct Kitaro element to his music. And so I was immediately hooked. I think I bought one of his albums at the time, and I don't even remember which one it was now. But what really blew me away about Kitaro, I think it was aired on PBS. I could be wrong, but An Evening with Kitaro. I watched that, and it blew me away. It blew me away. I just thought it was the most beautiful music in the world. And at that time, that was my valid opinion. I don't necessarily think that now, but I still really love Kitaro's music. Sadly, I don't have any of it on vinyl, but that's besides the point. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so that concert that was aired on PBS, it just blew me away, and I was like, this guy really has something. And I think that was probably at or near his peak of popularity, and I'm sure at that time he was insanely successful. For PBS to air one of his concerts, that's a big deal. So that concert, I don't know, it just really sold me on him, and so to this day I consider him one of my favorite artists. I've listened to his other albums here and there. I even have one of his Christmas albums. I think perhaps what I would say about Kitaro, more than being mainstream or mediocre or anything like that, I really don't believe he is mediocre. I think his issue is he has such a distinct sound, and he's been essentially sticking to that sound for so long that he's done all he can do with it. So, I mean, if you put any Kitaro music on, you'll instantly know it's Kitaro. That's how distinct his sound is, and I just think it's run its course, basically. So, I mean, he's trying to make a living, just like you are with your music, and like I have no delusions of making a living with my music, but again, that's besides the point. But he's basically just sticking with what he knows and what he feels works for him. And when you do that, obviously it stifles your creativity. So I'm sure he's put out a lot of what a lot of people would consider mediocre music. So I think more so than anything else, I think that's the problem with Kitaro's music. Again, I'm not saying you're wrong or that I'm right. I mean, everybody has their opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I never really thought of Kitaro as being mainstream, actually. So that kind of surprised me that you would not necessarily attack him, but you would suggest perhaps that his music doesn't necessarily deserve the success he's had. Again, I think a lot of that success came early for him. I don't know. I mean, I follow him on Facebook and he posts stuff on there, but I think by most standards he would not be really considered commercially successful anymore. He's kind of fallen out of the public eye. Yeah, but going another direction with this, your music, on the other hand, you're open to exploring different sounds, and that's. I mean, I haven't heard a lot of your music yet, and I am gonna get your record, by the way, the Flyover. Right now, money's a little tight, so I just need to hold off maybe a few weeks before I can get it. But hopefully, there's copies left. Yeah, but you're much more, perhaps because you are an independent musician and aren't being controlled by record labels. I think you're more free to explore your creativity, and if anything, you should feel sorry for Kitaro that he's kind of painted himself into a corner, essentially. I would love to see Kitaro do something completely different, and maybe that would reignite his creativity, and I would bet that he would put out some of his best music if he did something drastically different. I'm not sure what direction he could possibly go in, but I just think he's suffered from what a lot of successful artists fall into, and that is, you find this sound that is successful and makes you famous, basically, and so you want to kind of stick with that, and yet you're really giving up your creativity in exchange for that success. Because honestly, I believe that I believe most of the most talented musicians and artists are the ones that have not hit it big and probably never will hit it big, because they're not being controlled by corporate puppets, or they're not corporate puppets, I should say. I'm not necessarily saying that Kitaro's a corporate puppet, because again, I don't think he's nearly as successful as he once was. I mean, I'm just doing that based on my observation. I don't have any numbers or anything like that, but I don't know. I decided I'd step in and just kind of give my opinion on Kitaro, and I would love to have any of his music on vinyl. I love his sound. Admittedly, you know, it would get to the point, like, you know, I wouldn't want to sit there and listen to like his whole catalog, because again, the sound doesn't vary that much, so it's very distinct. And I'm trying to think of an example, but there's been lots of popular musicians that basically refused to change their sound, and they fizzled out because of it, and they weren't willing to risk losing their audience to, you know, keep things fresh and keep looking for new sounds. And so I think in that regard you should, and you probably do, feel very liberated in the fact that you're putting out your own music and you can do whatever the hell you want. and you have the VC behind you, and yeah, we're gonna keep Dereck going. Anyway, I don't know, I'm kind of babbling. I probably should have written notes, but I did want to step in, and I'm not even gonna tackle Lady Gaga. I mean, I guess my opinion on music is I like just about everything, whether it's, you know, top 40 or an independent artist who's never sold a record. Yeah, I just like everything. I don't let an artist's success dictate if I'm going to like the music or not. If I listen to it and I like it, I like it. So, and I like your music, Dereck. So I can't wait to get that on vinyl. That's going to be amazing. But I guess that's just my 2 or 3 cents on Kitaro. 13 minutes, wow. Anyway, yeah, I decided to post a response and just kind of throw in my little opinion. But again, I mean, you know, you're totally welcome to your opinion, and as you said, you like some of his stuff, and you have it on vinyl. So, but yeah, we're all open to our opinions, and you know, I hope you accept that that I can express my opinion as well. And I mean, you don't even have to watch this video, so I mean, I hope you will, because, you know, it's good to have dialogue about things. And anyway, alright, well, if you stuck around with me this long, thank you so much for watching, Dereck, and anyone else in the VC that happened to see this. Just my 2 cents. I do love Kitaro. If anybody has any Kitaro records they want to get rid of, send them my way. I'll even pay you a few bucks for them. I never see his stuff in Goodwill, by the way. I don't know. And I did find one Yanni record at Goodwill, so yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to more great music from you, Dereck.